Hello there. We are going to just review sections 7.3 and 7.4. I'm going to look through the slides for these sections, and this will be a review for your Unit 7 quiz. So we are now starting to work with data files, and data is inputted from a file instead of a keyboard when we use something like a text file, although files can be used in any kind of format, okay? The advantage for that is it lets us process a large amount of data, and then it also lets us help find patterns. You could hear people talk about data mining, or you hear people talk about big data. This is what they're doing. It is being used now in several industries to look for new patterns and thus new discoveries. Different file formats are available. A CSV is a comma-separated file. That's a comma-separated value is what that stands for. We are going to be working with a text file. XML is related to like interactive coding to work with a web page, and then you have like an MP4 and JPEG, which would be sound, and then your images. Text files is what we're going to be working with. We're only going to be working with data that's stored as characters, and we're going to be or words and numbers, okay? And so characters, words, and numbers is what we're going to be working with. Keep in mind that the central processing unit is what carries out all of this information, all of the executions, all of the commands. We have main memory, which is what is like currently running when we load something. It's running currently in main memory. It's real temporary and fast. If you happen to kick your power cord, as somebody did yesterday, and shut off their computer, you would lose all of this. Now the secondary memory is where we want to store more permanent things, and it is slower, okay? And that's where we're going to store all our data, but we're going to load the data into main memory and then work with it. So when you work with a file, basically every single time you need to open the file, you're going to input and process the data, and then you're going to close the file. That processing the data could include reading and writing. This is the main piece of code that you're going to have to get familiar with, and we're going to look at that in terms of the program here in a minute, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it right now. But basically, you have to open your file. You can name it whatever you want right here, but a lot of times it's a convention to name it in file and out file. In file is when you want to read, and that's what the R stands for, and then this is the actual file name that you're working with. You're going to then read one line at a time. Every line, remember, is marked with a /n at the end. That's your end of line character, and then it knows that it's reached the end of the line. You don't see it, but it's there. And as long as that returns a value, this is going to then execute. It's going to be true, print a line, read a new one in. You have to read the next line, or you're going to create an infinite loop. And you'll see this running in a program in a few minutes, or on the next video. InFile.close then closes the file and releases all of our resources. And so this just talks through what I just talked about just a little bit, and we will look at the first video. I'm going to do a video of the first lesson in a little bit. And so then why do we use a while loop? That's because it needs to continually look for the end of the file. So while it's reading in the next line, is continually looking for that end of that file. And so a while loop is most appropriate for that. We don't know how many executions it's going to have, and so we have to make sure that it just continues until the end of the file. Review your vocabulary before you test, and I'm going to jump over to the 7.4 slides real quick because your quiz is on 7.3 and 7.4. This is going to basically be the same, except it's going to be outputting to a file instead of inputting. So when we output, we say we write to a file. So let us save our program, and we want to save the output our program generates. We're going to create a new file and close the file. So again, it's the same three basic steps. We're going to open the file, we're going to process the data, but now we're going to send the data to the file instead of working with it and reading from, and then close the file. The format is very, very similar. We create an output file. When this is created, it creates a brand new file and it overwrites everything that was already there. We're going to input a word, and then as long as it's not our flag value, stop, we're going to write it to the file. So this is a key word here, a command.write, that writes to the file. Please note we are putting an end of line character at the end of every line. And then we're going to ask them to input the next line. And then we close the file. So again, you open, you work with the file, and then you close the file. Same general structure. The rest of these slides and the videos that Edhesive has talks you through this in more detail. If you would like some more detail, please watch those videos. And then a little bit of vocabulary is just writing, which is sending to the file. That's it for your little bit of quiz review.